Lace, and this is my PowerUp Health Journey. And this week's update is pretty great because I actually got to 180 days in a row meditating, and that's a pretty big milestone, I think. So 180 days, that feels pretty cool, and it's been pretty awesome. I'm still working on the Headspace app, or working off of the Headspace app, and I'm on to Headspace Pro, one of the packs you can use, and I'm on, I think, pack 4. And Headspace Pro is basically doing your meditation without as much guidance. And so Andy Pittacombe talks to you at the beginning and give you some information about things you can improve upon on yourself during the day as you're becoming mindful. But then during the actual meditation, you're kind of on your own. So because you've learned the foundations of meditation, he kind of sends you off to just start the exercises you normally would and get right into it, and it feels pretty awesome. Some people have a hard time meditating in silence, and they like the guidance, which is totally okay, but once you get past that portion where you feel like you're ready to kind of move on and do a little more intermediate meditation, you can do the Headspace Pro Pack or something similar, where you don't have as much guidance and you kind of just are practicing on your own, and you're really focused on your breath because no one's talking and interrupting you, and it feels really great. And so I've been doing that for the last 39 days in a row out of the 180, because the packs are 10 days each, so that was pretty cool. This week I have upgraded my my weights from 1 pound pasta jars to actual 3 pound weights. And woohoo, no more pasta jars. So this week I looked into nutritional yeast, and the reason is because I am mostly plant-based, which is similar to a vegan, except for I don't eat any processed foods, and I really limit my refined oils and refined sugars. And you also don't, consume animal products and that sort of thing. But I consume a little bit of animal products still. Like I mentioned before in my articles on Patreon, that I don't like to call myself a vegan because I'm doing it for the health benefits, and I'm plant-based nutritarian, which means I like to get as much plant-based food as possible, as nutrient-dense as possible. And that typically means, no animal product. But occasionally, I still have like some shrimp or something, but it's not very often, and normally I eat 2 or all 3 meals a day, totally vegan. And as nutrient dense as possible. And so one of the things I was looking into was vitamin B12, because if you are vegan, that is one of the things people always say, oh, how are you getting your B12? It's this big thing. But the funny thing is that people that are nutrient and vitamin B12, it's not exclusive to vegans, it's everybody. Meat eaters are just as susceptible as to vitamin B12 deficiency as a vegan. But it is an important mineral. It helps your blood cells regenerate. It's really a really important thing, and so you want to make sure you're getting it. And it doesn't happen overnight, getting deficient in B12. It takes 1 to 2 years to show B12 deficiencies, and that could be something like memory loss or dementia, I think, are some of the symptoms. I'm not sure exactly what they are, so don't quote me on any of this. But it takes a while to manifest. It's not like an overnight thing where you're suddenly like, oh, I'm B12 because I started being vegan yesterday. No, that's not how it works. So you can look into it gradually. And I take a multivitamin every day, and it has B12 in it. So I am getting supplemented with B12 at the moment. But eventually I would like to, not have to take that supplement. And so I'm trying to make sure that I can find other ways to get it. And the interesting thing about B12 is that it's actually from the soil. And so B12 is found in soil, and therefore animals that drink runoff water or water from rivers, where they're drinking water and soil and they're consuming food that has soil on it, like grazing in a pasture, tend to eat this vitamin B12. And then when you eat the meat or the animal product, you're then consuming some of the B12 because they've consumed it. So it's in their system. And you can get it on vegetables too, because organic, locally grown vegetables tend to be in nutrient-dense soil that has this vitamin B12 in it, but most commercially grown crops are so devoid of so many vital nutrients and vitamins that the soil doesn't have as much B12. So it tends to show up in trace or zero amounts on commercially grown crops, so anything you buy at the supermarket. But if you are buying from farmers markets or things like that, you might be able to get your vitamin B12 just from your vegetables. So one of the places you can find vitamin B12 that a lot of vegans seem to like, which I've noticed more and more by doing my research, is that they like to get it in nutritional yeast. And nutritional yeast is either a powder or a flake, and it is kind of like a condiment in that you put it on things. It's not like a main thing you just chow down. Some people snack on it as a supplemental snack, like between meals. But mostly people put it on things, so they treat it as a condiment. And nutritional yeast is not conventional yeast. It's not the same as brewer's yeast, and it is grown on molasses plants. So you'd think it would be sugary, but it's not. It's absolutely zero sugar taste. It's actually sugar-free and gluten-free. The yeast itself has been deactivated with heat. Basically what they do is they harvest it from the plant, they prepare it and get it ready, and then they just scorch it with heat. And the scorching it with the heat part deactivates the yeast so that it is not going to react with your body in a negative way. So it's not going to cause candida, it's not going to cause a yeast infection, any of those nasty things nobody wants. It's nothing like that. It basically is a powdered form of this plant that was grown on the molasses plant that is fortified with a high amount of B12. It's a complete protein, which means you get all your amino acids from it. It also has other B vitamins and iron. And this is important because it's got the B vitamins and B12, and that's hard to get. So this sounds, too good to be true. So at least I thought, and I was pretty right to think that it might be too good to be true. I did a little more digging into it, and some people really are all for nutritional yeast, saying it's the latest and greatest. You got to get nutritional yeast; it's so good for you. And then other people are, of the opposite opinion, and they're like, nutritional yeast is a junk food. Don't fool yourself. And from what I researched myself, and the decision I've decided to make is I am not going to be consuming nutritional yeast. It's not the correct solution for me personally. It might be for you, it's not for me. The reason is that because it's grown on the molasses plant, it is also very similar, the way it's grown and harvested, to MSG. And MSG is a pretty nasty substance. And some of the effects that you can get, the side effects from MSG, like headaches, heart palpitations, increased heart rate, that can come from nutritional yeast too. And so that doesn't really interest me. I don't want to consume something like that. It's also very, at least on my spectrum, to me, it's highly processed. I don't eat processed food because I am plant-based, and nutritional yeast is processed, and even though it's a condiment, it's not something I'm interested in eating. A lot of people use nutritional yeast, from what I've read, if they're transferring from a traditional American diet, the SAD diet, standard American diet. I love that little thing. SAD. It is sad. Transitioning from the SAD diet over to a vegan or a plant-based diet, they tend to get recommended nutritional yeast from their dietitian. And this is because nutritional yeast tastes a lot like cheese. So someone that's like, I can't give up my cheese, I need my cheese in my life, they're like crying in their soul. They can have nutritional yeast, and it kind of tastes like cheese. So they can have like cheesy noodles, they can have cheesy popcorn, they can have, all these cheesy things. But notice the two things I mentioned are two things I don't even eat. So cheesy noodles, I don't eat pasta because it's a refined food and it's pretty much void of nutrition. So for me, that's like, nope. Popcorn, I don't eat popcorn. Popcorn's not bad if you get just the raw kernels and make it yourself. If you buy it in a bag, that's a whole other story. But I just don't really eat a lot of popcorn. I have limits that I have for myself for sodium, so I don't consume popcorn, and I don't really like it very much without the salt, so I just don't eat it anymore. Another thing people use nutritional yeast for is they'll sprinkle it on vegetables as like a topping. So you have like some steamed veg and you just put a little nutritional yeast on it. So you can use it that way too. So if it's for you, those are some ways maybe you can use it. For me, I'm not going to be consuming nutritional yeast, and I'm still on the hunt for more ways to find B12. But that's what I was pretty much looking into this week, along with doing my new exercises with 3-pound weights. So that was pretty cool. And my 180 days of meditation, thanks to Headspace, the best app ever. Can't recommend it enough. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. You can also visit patreon.com/PowerUpHealth, where there was an article this week on all about meditation, how it can benefit you, and talking a little bit about mantras and malas, including my own experience with all of them. So I hope you check that out. And please be sure to subscribe to me here on YouTube, and follow me on Twitter, and follow me on Mixer for live streams, all at Red Lace Gaming. And give this video a like if you want to see more of my PowerUp Health journey. It's been fun doing this with you guys, and I hope you're enjoying it. I'm on week 12. Woo! Don't get yourself too excited. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.